Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and I hope everybody is having a beautiful day today. It is an incredible day so far, very warm outside, feels like summer, and of course, the market is having some ample movement within Bitcoin, and a lot of things are playing out in our favor. So with that being said, we're going to be addressing the entire crypto market, and let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things. So obviously, Bitcoin is up 4.57%. We are seeing, Ethereum following behind at about 5.97%, and some altcoins are starting to pop a little bit. Nothing too crazy here. But we are seeing a few assets actually having some nice parabolic moves. Up 16% in the 24-hour range. That's pretty good. Yesterday we were talking more so about the graph. Definitely keep a close eye on the graph. 42 cents is still a pretty good entry point, but I would wait for a little bit of a correction if we do see that. But for the most part, this market is looking pretty juicy. I would say overall, at the end of the day, when we are talking about what is happening within the economic standpoint on this market, everything was kind of reliant on what was happening with the Fed, but now we are seeing some nice price action. I believe that the Fed announcement is happening later today. I want to say at around like the afternoon time Eastern Standard. It's around like the 2:30 to 3 o'clock time. So, of course, we have to wait for that to officially happen before we do, say dead set on this market being actually back in a bullish range. But we are seeing the indices, having a little bit of a nice day, neutral day, if you will. As you guys do see here, the Dow Jones is up almost 400 points, NASDAQ almost following right behind it, and the S&P 500 up 74 points. So, still economically things are looking pretty good. Performance hasn't been too strong within the indices, but as long as we kind of just range on here with Bitcoin, that's totally fine. I am watching the dollar. We broke down below the 702, which is very good. It means that there is a lot of resistance up in this range. This is where we do not want to be. I mean, honestly, like when we're talking about the demand zone up here, this is where we want to see strong rejections. This is also where we want to see a lot of, weakness. And as you guys do see, we finally broke down below the moving average on the RSI, which is also a very strong moving average that we have grasped very strong just back in March 10th, around March 9th, March 10th. But we finally broke down strongly from it. Hoping this continues on like this. I think that we could possibly see a major impulse throughout the market, especially if this continues to drop like this. But I'm watching for us to break that 618 at about 97.76 technically, because it's 75.9. But overall, things are looking pretty good here for the dollar. I told you guys throughout this week, watch for this to have a lot of strength because that is an issue. Now, all while this is happening, I am watching the one chart, and that is, of course, the 10-year yield. I've been telling you guys that there's a lot of interest around crypto technology in terms of investments because we know that what is the best risk to reward ratio? That's very volatile. It's crypto. So this is telling us that there is a lot of interest on those areas of investment, but as I seen in a comment yesterday, I think that it was very, very logical. The individual said that there is a lot of interest around crypto investments, but the issue is that people want stability right now. They want to make sure that, if they are going to put their money in, it's not going to crash. And I think that there's a lot of uncertainty in this market currently. And I do agree with that comment fully because when we are talking about things that are happening within the economical standpoint, things are getting a little bit panicky in the markets, if you will. But of course, I have been watching Bitcoin very, very closely lately. You guys are probably all aware of the little bit of a pump yesterday. It was sort of like a scam wick on Bitcoin. We came up and almost tapped that 702 resistance level. But you guys do see where we currently are fighting right now at the 618 resistance. So, if we could break up above the 702, get back into the 702, 786 range, that would be very good for us. But I'm not going to be excited until we officially break out of about like 46K on Bitcoin. So, I'm watching that range to be tested and officially be broken over. RSI looks pretty good here. We are on the move. Well, we are a little bit above the moving average. Volume looks pretty good as well. Technically, it doesn't look too bad here, but we do need a little bit more volume to really kind of push us up. On the 1 week, you guys can see the 1 week we are finally breaking out on the RSI moving average a little bit, peaking up above it just slightly. But also the weekly looks really good. I mean, technically speaking, let me remove all of these percentage drops back here because I honestly, they're probably, a little bit distracting. So here you guys have it. I mean, this is where I've been watching closely for is the weekly to see that official breakout of 46K so that we can target, of course, the 1618, which would be around like almost $54,000, and then the 2618 is up there at about 60, almost 7, and then this will lead us to our golden fibs. This is where I talk about like the 80 to 100K zone, with our last one being up here at around like $137,000 almost. This $120,000 to $160,000 range is where I do believe that Bitcoin tops if we do get that last massive wave 5. I know a lot of individuals think that we are still in a bear market. If we are in a bear market, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I would not be hoping for that. And if we are in a bear market, we have a lot more downward trend here. But technically speaking, like here's the 1 month chart on Bitcoin. Does this look like a bear market to you guys? And the only reason why I ask is because look at the range that we are in. So this is why I always say look at the macro view on Bitcoin. We have these major lows going back to the summertime at about 28.6K, right? Everyone was calling for $26,000 to be tested at around this range. I've addressed this level as well. On the macro view, going back as far as January 1st, the month of January, we have that, higher low set in, followed by yet another higher low, followed by yet another higher low. Now, I always said that we could test $36,000, and the reason why I say that is because that is still, on the macro view, a higher low. But it looks like we just tested the major support going back as far as May 1st. This is that monthly candle of May. That is major support. It's also support going back as far as August 1st, the month of August 1st. So technically speaking, we don't need to go lower here. We could have this kind of range on for 2 months before we officially have that breakout event. But the problem is that we have been ranging in this sideways trading for almost 3 months now. So technically, a big move is in play for Bitcoin. Now, all while we are waiting for a big play on Bitcoin, we are also seeing almost all economics leading to the idea that we are going to see a nice impulse through risk-reward assets. The 10-year tells us that. The dollar finding a lot of weakness up here above the 702, having that strong rejection, is also telling us that we're going to see a nice impulse throughout the market. And the indices are not doing too bad. They're like fairly neutral right now, and we are seeing a little bit of, a nice upward trend on the Dow Jones. So overall, economically, I think that things are looking pretty good. I mean, obviously, we know inflation and stuff like that is not good for the economical, vision here. But I will say this: a lot of that plays into crypto actually technically being bullish. Now, I do want to talk to you guys about a few altcoins. So first off, we're going to come in hot with XRP and XLM. We do see XRP's RSI moving average being held here. Hopefully this continues to range on a little bit. But I do believe that XRP, like I said, last to move. These are OG laggard assets essentially. But we are ranging on in this nice sideways upward trend going as far back as February 24th. So overall, again, the vision here for XRP is just to, try to range until we do break above 92 cents. 92 cents is the big change of, scenery for XRP. That is where we do see a large amount of movement. As you guys do see back here, when we did officially break out, we went to about $1.07. Of course, we hit resistance up there, and we could not officially break out. Again, the resistance level isn't $1.07. It's actually technically $1. So we need to break out of that level officially, but there is going to be a lot of resistance on its way to $1.40. I was about to say $140. But You guys can see the levels up here. This continues on in that macro viewpoint to about like $10 to $15. I still, I think that those targets are still able to be met without a settlement. With a settlement, it just gets a little bit more bullish for XRP, and you already know that XLM will follow behind a little bit. XLM has been lagging a little bit behind with XRP, but again, this is still having that nice sideways momentum. And when we are talking about this, we can actually throw a horizontal line on the chart to really kind of show you where a lot of the support actually is. So it looks like this is the actual support range. I would argue that it's most likely just testing the bottom lows going back to demand zones in December of 2020. Of course, during this entire range here, this is where we did see a large amount of movement, followed by sort of the structure being printed on the chart to kind of test some support. But right now, 25 cents is my target for XLM, the same exact way that 92 cents is the same target for XRP. So as long as we kind of just trade sideways here, wait for that momentum to build, then that's totally fine. And RSI looks pretty good here, especially bouncing off of that moving average, so that's pretty good. Again, with a lot of these altcoins, we're kind of stuck in that sideways momentum. So here we also have QNT. QNT is still ranging between this $5 and this roughly $18 level. Again, key targets here to watch for is just breaking out of that 382 at about $178. That's my focus point, at least currently. On the economic standard for QNT, like I'm not awaiting a massive parabolic move or anything like that, because I know that a lot of people were waiting for March 15th for developer fees to go live because it was going to supply shock QNT and it was going to go here, go there. But that was never the case, in my opinion at least. Because when we are talking about the overall viewpoint for QNT, it's going to be a little bit of a slow growth start, and then we're going to see like candles like this going back to, September, when we did see massive volume flowing in. Honestly, we're still seeing some diminished volume across the board for a lot of alts. Like, that's the main issue right now with even, XRP and XLM. We're just not seeing a lot of volume. But the thing that bothers me with QNT is breaking down below the moving average. We're seeing actually a weak RSI here, as we do see diminished volume adding up. So that is a concerning factor. And the same goes for even Hedera. Like, we all have our targets here. Like, this is 35 to 38 cents. I've always reiterated that's the golden level that we want to be back into. But the issue here is trading below the moving average. Excuse me. And volume diminished. So as everything is looking good, I would say do not spotlight altcoins currently. There's a few altcoins that are doing fairly well. This is why I say, watch for a few of these. Watch for the altcoins that were breaking out during the February-March time frame. I know that the graph was breaking out actually before March. If we go back to the 1 year, or actually let's go back to the all times. So here we have, during this time in January, it really started to break out during, February. But similar to what the chart is telling me now is, our downward trajectory actually had us bottomed out officially just the other day at about 32 cents. This is also why I do think that at this current level, graph is a good buy. Technically speaking, this at a $2 billion market cap is still very undervalued, and I still believe in the overall view of the graph. I invested into the graph back here. I was buying at around like 20, it was like 25 cents or so, where I was really buying this at 25 to like 30 cents that I was accumulating, and I did end up selling this. I ended up selling it at around $2 officially. And I took my profit and I invested it into XRP before the move in April, which was very lucky. I'm not saying that I knew what was going to happen at all. It was just very, very lucky at that time. But I will say this, the graph is doing good. There's a lot of altcoins that are doing fairly well. And there's going to be a lot that pop before other ones. Like, for an example, like XRP and XLM, I know that everybody on YouTube always says, like, you need to buy XRP right now. It's going to go to $100 overnight. They're going to flip the switch. It's going to go. That's not true. Okay, so first off, like, we need to look at altcoins that are going to pop first, followed by what pops last. The last 10% of the bull run is when we do see a large amount of movement across the board for a lot of altcoins, and XRP, is one of the last ones to really kind of run. But we are seeing some nice movement across the board. I'm very happy to see the market kind of reacting the way it has been today. But I will say this, I am expecting just a little bit of downward, trend within the market leading up to the Fed announcement. We'll see. Like I said, you know, finance is just it's an incredible market. Like I love this industry. It's insanely great to be in. You could really learn a lot. You could really set yourself up very well for the future as well. But the issue that I see with with finance is individuals react in the most idiotic way whenever there is some sort of news coming out. A lot of people just sell the news. A lot of people just kind of sell the announcement, and they don't even understand the things that are actually, you know, on the macro view placed into the market. Like, for example, Fed rates increases at like 0.25%. That's already priced into the market. Like, we do not need to react at all. But of course, there will most likely be reactions because during the entire time that I've been in this market, we're going back to like the end of 2016 into the beginning of 2017. I've seen the markets react off of the most idiotic things, like the FUD with China. Like, how many times was China going to ban Bitcoin? And it continues to have those major reactions. But with that being said, just to really kind of sum up things, on the macro view here, things look very good, but I am still expecting possibly $36,000 to be tested on Bitcoin. This goes back to even, February 25th, where we've seen those, nice wicks down. It's more so just kind of testing, a little bit more liquidity, or I shouldn't even say liquidity, but just like testing support at around like that $36,000 level. I think that is a level that we could have a strong bounce off of, but we technically do not need to test those levels. We could actually have a nice upward trend starting here, where it's kind of like just sideways in an upward trend, similar to what XRP has done since, February 24th. So that's what I'm watching for right now. I need to have a lot more, validation right now currently on Bitcoin before we do get very bullish. I would say right now a break above the level of about $42,000 would be very bullish for Bitcoin. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.